I really love RPGs. I love being able to watch at every corner, trying to get as many dialogue as possible, every item possible, doing every quest possible. That's why I have 200 hours on Dark Souls 3 and a 100% guide in Italian on my YouTube channel. That's why I spent around 230 hours on Divinity Original Sin 2, the game that Larian made before Baldur's Gate 3. That's why I have 200 hours on Baldur's Gate 3. They're probably already around 250, if not more, because initially I played offline. I didn't activate Steam while I was playing, so Steam is not counting my entire hours. I have 100% guide of Act 1 and Act 2 of Baldur's Gate 3 on my YouTube channel, and a lot of other guides. And I just entered the Act 3, like think that I played for around 250 hours in just the part 1 and part 2 of the game. And I just entered the Act 3 now, and I'm streaming this live on Twitch. And I have around 600 hours on Fallout 4. And when Starfield was about to come out, I was very worried because I was still playing, and I'm still playing Baldur's Gate 3, and I was thinking, oh my god, Starfield will be Fallout 4, but into the space. How can I do that? I can't split into two games. I want to complete Baldur's Gate 3 first, but then disappointment arrived, and Starfield is not even close to Fallout 4. And yes, you could ask, why a guy that is playing for 400 hours on Baldur's Gate 3, Divinity Original Sin, Dark Souls 3, Elden Ring, spent up to almost 600 hours on Fallout 4? Like, isn't Fallout 4 a garbage game of Bethesda? And here we come to the point of the video. The point of the video is that Fallout 4 is not about RPG. When Fallout 4 came out, it was probably the greatest RPG ever released. And I will show you 100% why that's the case in 3 points. 3 points in which Fallout 4 is amazing, it's far better than Starfield, and it's very similar in a lot of things to an amazing game like Baldur's Gate 3 that is today considered 100% the best RPG ever made. Did I spend 600 hours into this game because of some kind of mod? Because like the game should be bad, right? No. The game is really amazing. The world is fucking amazing. Everything you see, you can reach it. It's full of items, things that are useful, things that are interesting, Easter eggs, environmental narrative. You can find the skeletons, terminals that explains the lore of the place you are in. You can try to understand what happened in a house where there are some dead corpses by just watching their position, and everything every time makes sense. The world is very detailed, very crafted with art essentially, and looks much different than something, for example, we see in Starfield, because Starfield is filled with procedural content that essentially makes no sense, has no meaning to you. But here, the world really tries its best to give you as much meaning as possible on everything you find. So the exploration of the world is amazing. The game is very similar to the last two Zeldas, where wherever you go, you are rewarded for finding something interesting. Fallout 4 is the exact same, but happened like 8 years ago. Unfortunately, Fallout 3 got published after The Witcher 3, a game that had amazing animations, and animation not only on the main story, but also during the side quests. Well, it's true that The Witcher 3 has amazing animations, and this is something that Baldur's Gate 3 shows very well. Every secondary character look amazing. You can like watch them into their face, and you will understand if they're lying, if they're angry, if they're fine. You will understand everything. In games like Fallout 4 and even Starfield, it's much worse. This is much worse. But I think that the story in itself is not just much better than the one that The Witcher 3 had, and obviously Fallout 3, but it's also so deep that really there are not a lot of games that are able to come close to Fallout 4 story. If you don't put your mind in it, you just think that it's a story about finding someone and then deciding your side and kill a bunch of other guys, and that's it. But that's not true. Fallout 4 is a very deep game that talks about humanity, about ourselves, about who we are, and about what is right, what is wrong, especially when we talk about what means to be human, what means to be a person, what gives you the right to be happy, to ask for more in your life, if you deserve to be happy, if you deserve to have more, if you deserve to have rights, if you deserve to live, if people should care about you or not. So not only Fallout 4 has this amazing environmental narrative, this amazing world full of items, full of secrets, Easter eggs on every corner, but makes a lot of questions that reach the end, you'll be able to answer for yourself. You'll be able to decide what is right for you and what it's not. It's very, very deep. And if you're young, or if you're just a mad YouTuber that just likes to make views and doesn't really want to put his brain into something, you'll never notice, you'll never understand how deep Fallout 4 was and still is. It's so deep that when Detroit Become Human came out, I was comparing them. I was comparing the story of both of them, because that is another game that talks about what it means to be a person. Another amazing game that talks about humanity, about maybe the worst part of humanity is The Last of Us 2. All of these games, Detroit Become Human, The Last of Us 2 and Fallout 4, talking about how deep and amazing the story is. Not the way in which the story is narrated, because again, I know that there are not amazing animations, but the plot in itself and the dialogues of a lot of characters, of a lot of situations are very, very deep. Philosophically talking, this game is crazy good, and it's worth playing just for that. But we still have 2 points we need to talk about. And the second one is builds. This is strength, perception, constitution, charisma, intelligence, agility and luck. And the ones that are under them are perks. And when Fallout 4 came out, I don't know, I really don't know if people are serious or they have some damage on their brain, because people thought that this game was less deep than Fallout 3. In Fallout 3, as soon as you start the game, around level 5, level 6, level 7 at most, you are already overpowered, because you can put your stats all in the same thing, and for example put all of your stats into little guns, and now your pistol is crazy strong, and you can kill and destroy everything with just normal pistols in just a few levels at the start of the game, in 1 hour or 2 hours at most. In Fallout 4 we don't have a stat, or looks like that we don't have a stat for every single thing, right? They are called skills, to be fair. We have these stats here, right? And if you put every point, for example, in strength, it's not like you are instantly overpowered with weapons, with melee weapons. You know why? Because strength is a thing, and then being more powerful with melee weapon is another thing. In fact, here we have this perk, and to power up this perk, we need to put point here. So you can put a first point and get 20% extra damage with melee weapons. But to put the second point, now you need to be level 7. For the third point you need to be level 15, level 27 for the fourth point, and for the fifth one you need to be level 42. To do double damage with melee weapons, you need to be level 42. This is the one about guns, the same one I was talking about in Fallout 3. If you want to put the last point in this, do double damage with pistols, with small guns, you need to be high level. You can't unlock this thing as soon as possible. So the Fallout 4 system is the same as Fallout 3. But instead of making you become overpowered in just 2 hours of the game, it slows you down so that you can still create builds, but you have balance into the game. Something that the previous Fallout are missing. So Fallout 4, yes, has build, and now I'll show some of them, but it's also well balanced. This is a crazy upgrade of the previous game. Let's just use this site to give you an example of how different the stats of the game can be based on the stats you choose. Essentially, these stats, this special, you can get 21 points on them at the start of the game. So for example, we put point on strength and on endurance because we want to make a melee character, and we gave him some agility. So this is a build. In this build you have this point on strength and endurance. Endurance will give you extra HP. Strength will give you a little more damage with melee weapons, but again, to really become strong you need to unlock these things. Every time we level up now, we'll be able to give an extra point on other perks. For example, we want extra perception. We level up, we can give one more point here on perception. If we have 2 perception, we can unlock the tier 2 perks. So we have this build, right? Instead of putting a point on perception, we level up and we decide to put points here. So now we are level 2 and we put a point here. Now we level up once again, we are level 3. We can put a second point here. We can get 40% extra melee damage with weapons, because it will become overpowered. So what we do instead, put a point here in blacksmith, so we can go to a workbench and modify our weapon. So we are level 3, we don't do a base crazy damage, but we can start modify our weapons. We get even more points, we can put a point here. Now we have more carry weight. Put points on other things that we can unlock, and then when we are level 7, we can put a second point here. We want to make a build based on long range weapons instead. We can get a lot of perception. Let's go for 10. Let's make this a little random. A lot of agility, and for example a lot of intelligence, or at least intelligence that we can get with the base points. So now we have access to gun modifications, automatic power-ups, and rifles power-ups, and we can do a lot of damage with this kind of things. If you are not interested in this kind of things, you want to have a charisma guy that can get help from others. If you have enough charisma, you can unlock power-ups that makes your companion stronger. You can unlock skills that helps you try to pacify kind of enemies. You can pacify humans, monsters, animals. You want to go around alone or with your dog that doesn't count as a companion, you can take the best perk in the game, the Lone Wander, that gives you extra weight, makes you take less damage and do more damage. And then you can also decide if you want a build based on intelligence or not. Because if you have more intelligence, you get more experience, so you level up around 30% faster if you have 10 points. But if you don't have an high intelligence, you're not penalized, because since the enemies level up with you, instead of putting points into intelligence and other things, you're putting points in things that makes you stronger. So the enemies are lower level, but you're stronger because you're not leveling up a lot, but you're leveling up things that makes you stronger. But if you really want to go crazy with leveling up, there is a secret, there is a perk in luck that makes you get triple and even 5 times the experience but this triggers only sometimes, and lower is your intelligence, more times this triggers. So for example, you can try to unlock this thing, and now even if you are low in intelligence, since this thing will trigger a lot of times, you will get even more experience. So for example, you could start with a build that has a lot of luck, get a lot of experience, and then later on you could decide to start getting some point in intelligence, because you're already level high enough to have everything you want. So now you put points on intelligence, and you can start unlock gun modifications, hacking, and things like that. The game is very replayable because you can start a game with different things. As I said, you can play alone, you can play with companions, you can play with robots. There are so many things you can do. This game is very similar to Baldur's Gate 3, where in Baldur's Gate 3 you can change your class. Here instead, you create essentially your class based on the perks and the stats you have. And this will change your playthrough deeply every single time. Witcher 3 maybe had a lot of very cool animations, but when we talk about gameplay, Fallout 4 was one of the deepest RPG ever made at that point. And again, I really don't understand how the hell is possible that players didn't understand this. Didn't understand that the game was crazy deep and much more balanced than a lot of previously made games by Bethesda that usually are a total mess when we talk about balance. But it's time to talk about the last point that makes Fallout 4 an amazing RPG, much better than Starfield is. Settlements. Settlements that here have a very big and important meaning. See all of these lines on the map? Every line connects settlements. Every one of these places are settlements. Since these are my completed save files, I tried to connect essentially everything. These are essentially supply lines that makes for you possible to grab the same items you have, for example, here, from here, if they are connected, if everything is connected. So this is one of my settlements. This is like the second settlement you can find. It's just a station, and I put it here my companions, some robots, as you can see. So I use this to come here and decide what companion I want to bring with me. This century is the first city you enter. I created a bunch of things, kinda strange, more for defense. I did this in the first time I played the game, so I didn't even really know back then how the game worked, if you really need or not all of these turrets floating around. There are a lot of things that we could say about settlements, exactly like when we talk about build. If you really want, you can go deep into the how settlement works and learn a lot of things and try to manage the settlements in the best way possible. Or you can just try to create a single settlement, put in whatever you want and enjoy it by yourself without caring too much. Oh my god, how many power armors I have here. You can try to put in as many colonies as possible or have none of them. You can obviously create things. You can start by getting small things, or you can just take things that are more complex so that you can make things faster. For example, a small house that is already pre-created. Out there you can find a lot of videos about crazy things that people created. It's all up to you. And again, maybe you're not interested into creating very cool thing. For example, I make this UFO here with my main base inside, with my most important items up there. Maybe you are not interested, but the fact is that in every game you explore, there are a lot of items, and you often feel like you don't really know what are the important items and what are not important in the game. What item you should keep with you, what item it's safe to sell. Well, in Fallout 4, this thing doesn't happen, because essentially you get up to this thing here that it's present in every settlement, and here you can put whatever you want, and you can scrap whatever kind of item you find. So For example, I enter an house, I find some garbage. Well, that garbage has meaning. If you want to grab it, you can grab it. You're not wasting time, because when you will be back here, you'll be able to scrap it and have materials, and with materials we'll be able to create things. So this gives meaning to every single piece of item you find in the game. Plus, compared to Starfield, where you like create some kind of colony in some random planet into the space where you could never go back again, here when you create a colony, the colony is in the same area. I can start from this place, wander around, grab items, then when I'm done, when my adventure is done, I come back, I stuff my items, and maybe I sleep, I heal, I prepare for the next adventure. And slowly I can keep exploring all around, gathering items, create better defenses, create better houses, making more colonies come in. Sometimes the colony can be attacked and you can defend it. There are a lot of things to do that helps you feel attached to the place, helps you feel attached to the world. And on top of all of this, to make everything even better, if you feel like, not only Fallout 4 can be one of the best RPGs ever, with the best world, with a very deep story and a lot of builds you can do, but it can also become one of the best survival games ever made. Look at my weight now. 13,000 weight. If you switch to survival mode, essentially everything has a weight. For example, cups almost have a weight too, and you will need to drink, eat, sleep. You'll be able to get illnesses, different kind of illnesses. If you sleep randomly, you will get insomnia. If you use too many drugs, you will get addicted, and getting rid of your addiction will be a little harder. You can go, for example, to a doctor, and a doctor can help you with all of these problems, with all of these issues. Survival mode makes Fallout 4 an even deeper game. This is amazing. So again, on top of all of the things I showed you, I talked about the game, you can make the game even deeper, because now you can play like a survival, and there are mods that can change this, but normally you can't save. To save, you have to sleep, and if you sleep on a settlement, on a good bed, you get some bonuses too when you wake up. But if you sleep randomly around the map, you can get more illnesses. It's easier to get illnesses, but at least you can save. Now everything is really important. You go around, you go back to your settlements. It's important to have colony that, for example, gathers resources for you. It's important to create things that helps you defend yourself. It's important to grab a lot of items, a lot of ammos, and leave ammos here, because now you can bring every ammo with you because they have weight. The game changes completely. So for example, you can play Fallout 4 the first time, enjoy an amazing story, then at the end there is not a fake New Game Plus that really doesn't change anything like in Starfield. You can play survival mode, you can play new builds, and experience every time a full other amazing game. This is why I played 600 hours into Fallout 4. This is why this game is much better than Starfield. The two are not even comparable, and I really hope that that day Starfield will be half as good as Fallout 4 was and still is. I'm not Jake. I hope I helped you understand why Fallout 4 is much better than a lot of people told to you. I hope I helped you understand that a lot of people lied or spread random misinformation about one of the best RPGs ever made. Today Baldur's Gate 3 takes the fifth spot of the best RPGs I ever played. Final Fantasy 9 has a special spot on second place, and Fallout 4 is obviously at least at third place. Again, I'm not Jake, we can talk about all of this in the comments, try to be polite, please. And if you appreciated my effort in trying to explain why I love this game, if you want, you can also leave a like. Have a nice day everyone and be nice. Bye bye!